Why is publishing the median pay for men and women a bad idea when trying to address gender equality? Let's first set the stall out with the basic premise that men and women should be paid the same amount of money when they're doing the same job. I realise life isn't always simple enough to be able to directly compare people's skills, experience and value, particularly in roles relying on softer skills, but the principle stands. If they're doing the same thing, there should be no difference in pay between a woman and a man. So the median, what is it? The median is a statistical representation of the average value of a set of numbers. And using averages is usually viewed as a good thing when looking at statistics, because it's inclusive, but it tends to avoid the bias of the odd outlying results. There are a few ways of working out the average, and the median works it out by lining up all the numbers that you're interested in a nice little row from smallest to largest, and then you simply look at the middle of the row, and there's your median. As simple as that. Now, as I said, the median is a statistic, and although statistics are useful representations of the underlying data, they can be misleading. And when you're trying to use a statistic to prove a point, it's important to know what the limitations are. So let's look at an example. Two companies, Gender Equality Inc. and Misogyny plc. I'm sure you can guess where this is going. First, let's look at the employees of Gender Equality Inc. They have 3 pay grades of employees: worker bees, managers and executives. And as you can see, the women are paid exactly the same as the men at each pay grade. So they're doing a good job, right? Yes, absolutely. Model company, if you will. But what will the statistics show? Let's have a look. So men first. There are a total of 39 men working for the company. And for the median, we need the middle salary. So with 39 people, that will be the 20th employee when we line them up in salary order. Starting from the bottom, the worker bees account for employees 1 to 10 when lined up in salary order, and the managers then cover employee numbers 11 to 35, so our 20th employee must be in there somewhere in that 11 to 35 range. And in this simplified example, all managers earn the same amount, £50,000 a year. So the median rate of pay for a man is £50,000 a year. Now the women. 127 of those, so we're looking for the 64th. The worker bees cover the first 100 workers, so the median salary must be within the worker bees, which are all paid 25k. Hold on, that means the men's median salary is double that of the women. That doesn't seem like it can be right, but it is. Let's have another look at an example, this time of a more unscrupulous company. Misogyny plc has much the same pay structure as Gender Equality Inc., but they pay their women less than the men at every pay grade. So how do the numbers turn out? Exactly. Even though the women are consistently paid less than the men for the same roles, the median salary comes out as higher. So we can see that in some cases, the numbers can't be trusted. And it's not that they're just a bit out. They can tell completely the opposite story to what's actually happening. And there'll be some companies like Misogyny plc that look very responsible in spite of their HR policies, and others that will be forced to justify their poor results, whose excuses, if you will, are likely to be ignored by the media regardless of how factual they may be. And whatever the extent of this problem, the potential for wildly misleading results make the entire policy unreliable. So what's the solution? Well, that's a tough one, and I'm not confident there's any silver bullet, but there are a few things that can be thought about or put into practice. One is, if we are going to ask for companies to publish some kind of statistics, and we really want to use the median, then we need to make sure that the median applies within pay bands. So only those doing equivalent jobs are being compared. There's then a bigger question of how and if those results should be aggregated, but there are other statistical methods that could be used. I mean, a simple approach would be to take the median of the results of the individual pay bands, but there's further drawbacks to do with weighting on how many people in each pay band, and just because it's hard maths, it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. And this is the government and major companies we're talking about. But the second and the third things are things that individuals can do. And it's really all about being more open about talking about your salary. There's nothing wrong with asking for a pay rise. People do it all the time, but women tend to do it less often than men, and are less aggressive or assertive when pushing for the pay rise amount. Talk about your pay to other people. Talk to your manager, talk to your peers. And if you're comfortable, you'll soon get a feel for whether you're being paid the going rate. Thanks for listening.
Powered by Video.